Chapter 17. Jealousy? Erix noticed something happened when he saw Rimuru transformed into a human, having grown significantly and evolved into something new. He wondered, since the homunculus was not simple. Instead, it was a level 100 homunculus that he didn't put any ego into, like an empty husk. Rimuru's aura was now noticeable, and Erix viewed her as a vice-general if paired with his 8 demon generals, or even higher depending on the situation. Eren told him that she is around the level of the 8 demon generals, and assuming her unique skill, she would be comparable to Special A to S-class, or around Hazard or Disaster rank. Erix learned that it was because he viewed her as someone who will belong to him, and used his own magic in creating the homunculus, that it influenced her growth. While he was observing her, Rimuru was staring at him intently. She wanted to hide and bury herself, but was somewhat angry at him for not trying to tell her before devouring the homunculus. "What? I already apologize. What do you want me to do?" "Then what did you want me to do?" "Humph. I want you to take responsibility." Rimuru doesn't know why she was acting this way, while Erix just let out a chuckle and found her reaction to be cute, especially her punchable cheeks, though her voice, which was akin to a forger, made it adorable. "How exactly?" Erix leans closer, making Rimuru stagger while thinking of an answer, but words won't come out. He was enjoying her reaction and stepped back. "All right, let's stop here. I'm sorry that I saw you naked, and whatever that responsibility you said, then I'll do that. For now, why don't we go back to the town and try some of the food?" Erix suggested, knowing that teasing her too much won't lead to anything, and he had already made a deep impression on her. I would like that." Rimuru decided to give up and change things as she followed him through the gate and returned to the town, where they tried the street food provided by the hobgoblin who learned how to grill and marinate meals. Erix has captured and began domesticating livestock, like terror birds and large buffalo. The taste was similar to Wagyu meat from the time when he was on Old Earth, being one of the few things he remembers. Erix can't remember his friends and other close relationships, only his experience. He knew that he had tasted Wagyu meat before, and the large buffalo was extremely tender and juicy. He saw Rimuru's eyes glisten when she took a bite of the hamburger containing its meat. Erix was also having it and was eager to devour delicious food, hoping that once he gained gluttony, it would give him a variant of an ultimate skill. "Lord Erix, who is this?" Erix was walking around when he heard a familiar voice and saw Shaltir accompanying Kanami. It was clear they looked extremely jealous and threatened by Rimuru, who felt the pressure from them, but Erix narrowed his gaze and said, "Be at ease, Shaltir. She is a guest, and I wish for you to treat her right." He made her stop her aura and made Shaltir and Kanami understand. "Why don't you introduce yourself?" Erix suggested. The first one was Shaltir, and she said, "Greetings. My name is Shaltir Bloodfallen. It's nice to meet you. I am Kanami." They weren't happy about having Rimuru beside their master, but tried their best to not show it. "I am Rimuru Tempest, and thank you for having me." She bowed down, giving her respect, while Erix shook his head and flicked her forehead. "Why did you do that? You shouldn't act that docile. The way you're behaving, you would be easily bullied by others." Rimuru was confused why he treated her like he knew her, and even more confused why she let him do this, feeling as if she had known him for a long time. "Anyway, why don't you accompany me?" Their eyes lit up and they were ecstatic to join. Soon enough, the 4 of them walked around certain places, while Shaltir and Kanami wanted to embrace his arms. Erix noticed them, telling the 2 it was fine since they deserved the reward, which they wholeheartedly accepted, while Rimuru felt rather jealous, seeing them confuse her. "Why do I feel this way? I don't even know him. But why?" Rimuru inwardly thought, confused, but didn't think too hard and went ahead to continue their stroll. They all enjoyed their time, where Shaltir and Kanami learned who Rimuru was, making them acknowledge that having her would prove beneficial to their future empire. "To think you would be the reason for Veldora to disappear." Kanami once referred to the storm dragon as Lord, but now that she has Erix, She did not dare address anyone else but him as Lord. You mentioned Veldora. Does that mean he senses us and hears everything we say? Shaltir asked, concerned that Rimuru might become a threat, while Erix shook his head and said, My intuition tells me that he won't cause any trouble, especially considering the fact that he's still sealed. Erix can try to free him and extract his power, then place it into Rimuru to make her into a true dragon. But for now, she should become a demon lord first and evolve. It would be a waste to kill him when he can reap more while he's alive. It was better to benefit from the small but long term, rather than the large but short term. Shaltir didn't press further, knowing that her master won't take action if he doesn't have a plan for it. Erix is always several steps ahead and takes every opportunity to benefit. I see. Forgive me for asking. It is fine to doubt, as this will ensure we improve and be better. She nodded, and Erix turned to Konami and said, How is your progress in training? Have you learned a thing or two from Shaltir? Yes, Shaltir has been a great tutor when teaching me how to use my vampiric powers, Konami proudly said, and Shaltir also felt the same, while Erix chuckled since the two were basically sisters. Right, Rimuru, have you decided if you want to stay here and become one of my subordinates? With your skills, then I'm confident you'll be useful. He looked at Rimuru, who took a moment to think and said, Well, I have no place to go anyway, and I think staying is the best option I have. That settles it then. It is best if you train on how to fight rather than rely solely on your skill, Erix suggested, while Rimuru nodded. After a while, Rimuru was taken to her new home close to his mansion, and she was grateful for his kindness as they said their goodbyes. Erix, along with Shaltir and Konami, arrived at the conference hall where everyone from the Floor Guardians, the 8 demon generals, and Rigard looked at him and stood up, giving a respectful bow and greeting. Erix walked towards his seat while Amaya and Arian appeared and stood beside him. Albedo was on the right where the Floor Guardians were, and on the other side were the 8 demon generals, where Minakichi had a size alteration magic spell placed to help him resize and fit. Thank you for coming. Today I've called you for an important question, Erix said, while everyone intently listened, not saying a single word. I want to ask what name I should use for our growing nation. Chapter 18, Invigorating. Everyone was perplexed hearing his words, then waited for his next words. Erix saw their expression and nodded before continuing. I know it's too early, but it's best if we establish it now rather than later. Erix was getting ahead of himself, especially considering how early it was to even think of establishing a kingdom when they barely had a town. However, he wanted to begin his operation on gathering more citizens into his kingdom, with a place for monsters to reside where a strong monster that they can serve would provide Erix more skills to plunder and gather more allies. In addition, unlike the human kingdom, monsters are more straightforward, and as long as he is strong, then only few would defy him. It was also worth noting that every single one who submits themselves to him is within the palm of his hand, where he can easily kill anyone that betrays him. Furthermore, naming would bless them like it did to other monsters. No, I believe it is, as you said, Lord Erix. The name of your kingdom should be heard and spread to be known of your might, Demiurge confidently said, having prepared plans on overthrowing kingdoms with ease using his manipulation and immense intellect. Erix could see it in his eyes that he had already begun placing their subordinates in other kingdoms to act as spies. Erix trusted Demiurge in his plans and capabilities, so he let him formulate plans for him while he revised them to suit his needs, as some of his methods were too unnecessarily ruthless and didn't benefit him, being more of a shortcut. He is extremely evil but knows how to use kindness to his benefit. Demiurge is the type where if you ask him to find a solution on global warming, then he would answer with the most efficient and fastest way, which is complete annihilation of humanity. This is the reason why he made sure to change his plans so they wouldn't lead to such a disastrous blunder. Indeed, I agree completely with Demiurge, my lord. It is obvious that you'll need to name your new kingdom sooner or later. Albedo gave her thoughts on the matter and believed that it was impossible for her lord not to achieve what he intended to do. Erix smiled hearing this, giving a lot of nods, and said, "In that case, I've decided a few names for our soon-to-be empire, with our capital to be named Nazarick." Erix respected his first home and believed that it would make the Guardians happy. "And our kingdom shall be known as the Crimson Kingdom Azurayasha Deva." Erix decided on a name that means demon god, mixing Azura, Yasha, and Deva into one word that resulted in his own empire. They were all cheering and celebrated upon having decided the name for their new kingdom. "I know all of you are excited, but we still have work to do. A few days from now, I'll be heading to the Dworgen Kingdom and reap what I sought." Erix was eager to obtain Kaijin and test his skill when using materials from Yggdrasil to see if he is able to create weapons that are divine or close to God-class items. They all continued to report their tasks, having progressed smoothly on erecting a powerful barrier that can hope to withstand an attack from Malim. When everything was done, Erix felt rather stiff, deciding that he should take a bath, and he teleported after he commanded everyone to be dismissed. Though he was too powerful to even feel pain and was a spiritual life form that isn't bound by material body necessities, it does not mean he doesn't like to feel his stiff muscles ease from submerging his body in the warm water of the hot spring. He removed his clothes, where only his muscles were seen, before Erix submerged his body into the bathhouse hot spring. This place was located in the Great Tomb of Nazarick and is rarely used besides by Erix. He enjoys things that make him feel alive and crave more. Erix placed his arms on the edge as he leaned back, thinking about everything that transpired. If this world is the light novel version of Tensura, then I would be able to find the heavenly star palace made by Veldanava, Erix thought, hoping that something is within that place that could allow him to gain more power than before. He knows going to that place would be dangerous, especially since it is protected by the demon lord giant Dragruel. For now, I should concentrate on strengthening our kingdom. He believed that only a month would soon finish the development of the kingdom thanks to magic. Erix sometimes helps through alchemy and supervises the construction of every structure. Though I don't mind it, is it really necessary to make a statue of me? Erix liked to conquer and rule, but the thought of having his statue felt uncomfortable. It was strange, but he thought he'll eventually get used to it. While he was lost in thought, he heard water splash and looked down without moving from his leaning position. What greeted him made him grin. "Hope thee mind not if we accompany thee, master? Your arms seem lonely, master?" Amaya and Eren stood before him, where they only wore a towel covering their bodies. He ogled at the sight that made them slyly smile before moving to his side, where Amaya took the left and Eren the right. Eren created a floating table on the water that had alcohol on it. She is able to use Erix's power since they are connected through the soul. She poured some into the cup while Erix took it without hesitation, feeling the burning sensation running through his throat. Erix recalled the time the Guardians found out about them being his second and third wives, while Albedo and Shaltir were envious. Aura and Mare were not that jealous, while Yemiko, Slaanesh, and the Pleiades were hardly affected by the news. Jabril was the complete opposite and actually enjoyed the neglect since she's a masochist. He accepted Albedo and Shaltir as his fourth and fifth wives, having fought for the higher position through flipping a coin. Albedo took the fourth, much to Shaltir's annoyance, but she took the opportunity to get pampered, which was entertaining to say the least. From that moment, they often slept in his chamber, but since they have their tasks to be done, they hardly take time to rest. In addition, Erix focused on settling in the new world before taking their maidenhood. "How delightful, two beauties at my side drinking alcohol. What a life indeed," Erix remarked, while the two smiled happily. He thought to himself, having a sense that he had experienced something like this before despite having no relation in his Yggdrasil Earth, and concluded it came from real Earth. Erix decided to let them rest, picking them up and cleaning them before bringing them to his bedroom chamber. Tucking them in before dressing himself with a night robe, he headed to the balcony, showing that the place was his mansion in his new kingdom. Erix looked at the row of houses before him with lamps that lit the street and was somewhat proud of the progress. He looked down and saw Kanami walking towards his mansion and called to her. She quickly flew up, greeting him. "Why are you here?" Did something happen? No, my lord. Ever since I've become a vampire, I can't help but stay awake at night. I didn't intend to wander this close to your mansion. Erix pondered if this was because of being in a new world, but understood, since he also felt that his instincts changed his view on things, especially how he acts during the day and night. No, it's fine. Actually, why don't you accompany me tonight? Erix suggested, floating and holding out his hand. Kanami looked perplexed before showing a lovely smile and said, I would love to. Chapter 19, New Status. The night was rather pleasant, having a quick date with Kanami and learning more about her nocturnal instincts. Erix found the night sky to be the best view since it was something that had disappeared from his old world due to pollution. It was indescribable when you observed the night sky where you can see every star in the sky. He stayed with Kanami until they headed back, where Erix went back home. Kanami grew addicted to the taste of his blood ever since he tested the changes in his body, having let Shaltir and Kanami have a taste, who described it as the sweetest and most addictive flavor they ever had. He gave them permission to consider his blood as a reward if they did well, to ensure that they are performing properly. Though he doesn't mind them, since they are his consorts and partners. Erix learned that his blood had healing properties due to having dense and high-quality mana infused in it. He let Demiurge run some tests on it to see if it would have more benefits for everyone. Eventually, Erix rested in his bedchamber, joined by Kanami, Albedo, and Shaltir, who was extremely jealous at the sight. Once everyone woke up and headed to have breakfast before continuing their tasks, Erix planned to begin something that he had not done for a long time. He went to his backyard, which was large enough since he had prepared for this occasion. I don't know how big this will be nor its effect, but, Erix thought to himself, taking out a basketball-sized seed from his inventory and using appraisal. World Tree Seed. Rank? Description? Erix's intuition told him that it would be better to take some time until he was confident enough about the best course of action. He created a barrier around his mansion and distorted the space, expanding it inside while the outside appeared to be normal unless one stepped inside. Erix held it before releasing his true form, sprouting his wings and causing the entire land to shake violently, making everyone, even those outside, unable to pinpoint the source. He was confident no one would take action and would be informed immediately if they did, since he had spies. The massive wave of energy caused the seed to connect itself to his soul and then turn into a crystal that was brimming with power. He was satisfied with the outcome and saw that the entire space had extremely dense mana that was perfect for nourishing it as Erix planted the seed. Afterward, he waited for a few seconds until a normal-sized tree sprouted from the ground, boasting shimmering leaves that radiated vast amounts of energy. He used appraisal once more and was taken by surprise. World Tree Seed. Rank: Beyond Genesis. Description: Divine World Seed, a seed that is said to grow into a world tree. The benefits the tree would bring are immense. Each leaf, branch, fruit, and other part of the tree is magical. The leaves of the divine tree can be used in alchemy to create a healing tonic, anti-aging tonic, purification tonic, etc. The branch of the divine tree can be used to create powerful tools and weapons. Any weapon or tool forged from the branches of the divine tree has a passive ability to purify darkness and evil energy. The fruit of the divine tree is a fruit that provides a massive permanent boost to those that eat the fruit. This fruit can heal any wounds, be they physical or metaphysical, restoring someone to their prime without side effects. The tree granted its master the ability to travel between realms and gain a subsidiary world where they are the god, and the land ruled by the master can be added to its realm. Lastly, once the divine seed is planted, nature spirits would be born. All nature spirits would be loyal to the one who planted the divine seed. You have acquired ultimate skill, Lord of the Rift, Janungagap. Description: It allows the user to travel between different dimensions and universes, cross over different planes of existence, and travel across various forms of reality. He didn't expect to gain a new skill from planting the world tree and pondered at the rank of the item, which is beyond Genesis. Erix sensed something and tried to test it, stepping into the world tree. He was instantly transported somewhere that is an endless void. However, to describe it as empty wouldn't do it any justice, as the whole place had an ethereal energy that can only be described as gaseous clay which molded to his will. Where is this place? This place appears to be the subsidiary realm that the world tree provides. It currently appears to be akin to a blank canvas, and the master has the brush. Perhaps you should try making something, or use it to connect outside space to become part of it. Erix thought to himself, looking at it and sensing in his soul a small tree. He understood it to be the world tree. He tried to nourish it with his power and poured his energy into the tree, instantly causing energy to churn, creating an immensely powerful vortex. He could feel something changing his strength once more as his soul seemed to grow stronger, being refined by the energy through the world tree. He could sense his soul, which was in a gaseous form, liquefy and solidify into a form similar to his own. Erix could see that his soul was an amalgamation of different forms yet still had a solid shape. Erix felt he had reached a new height of power where few can definitely defeat him. Level has been changed into rank. Normal rank has reached Living Deity LVL. 1. Soul rank 1 has reached rank 7. Soul mutation. The great evil Azurayasha Vijrarakshasa true dragon god Armageddon. Rank 7. Erix instantly caused the entire subsidiary realm to produce a dimension where it was a beautiful personal world. He could feel that the space wouldn't be destroyed if he tried to go all out and release his power. He noticed that this place acted like a dungeon where it had an entire 9 realms that had yet to form any monsters. What is this rank? I know monster or Tensura has them. He was bewildered, finding his new status to be strange, but didn't complain since it had boosted his power even further than before. We've received information in regards to it. Tell me then. First is the rank. It begins from normal beast, low mid high, king beast, low mid high, emperor beast, low mid high, kaiser beast, low mid high, overlord beast, low mid high peak, living deity beast, 1 to 9, living deity or heavenly commandment, 1 to 9, demigod 1 to 9, god 1 to 9, great god 1 to 9, supreme god 1 to 9. As for soul, it is rank 1 to 9 where demigods, gods, great gods, and supreme gods have rank 9 souls. Erix sat in the lotus seat position and rubbed his chin, trying to recall where this system could have come from, then suddenly recalled a novel that he read but wasn't able to finish. Epic of Caterpillars. He evilly smiled, recalling the benefits of this stat system, which made it possible to grow stronger in the future and find new challenges. Erix knew that those who reach living deity and onward would be required to go through a tribulation and to have a certain inner meaning on a corresponding element while also reaching max level, like some Shensha story. He wanted to visit those worlds and trample upon those young masters, but that would be in the future. A living deity must gather enough divine energy to go through the next tribulation. Each rank is one tribulation passed. Each tribulation gets stronger and is based on the user's weaknesses. Erix knows that divine energy is just a denser element of something that represents that person. Ahahaha! What a great day! Let's test my new power for the time being then. Name: Erix Khan. =======================================================================================================================================================================::::::: Racial level. Demon, 15. Demon Lord, 10. Primordial Demons God, 5. World-class enemy. Apocalyptic deity? Armageddon Demon Dragon? Others. Job level. Spear User, 10. Grand Archmage, 10. Demon Monarch, 5. Crimson Monarch? Primordial God of Chaos? World Disaster 5. World Armageddon? Obtained after raiding all realms and defeating the final boss of the game. Yggdrasil Guardian? A reward for becoming the one who will restore Yggdrasil. Others. Karma value -500. Extreme evil Divinity, true dragon god of Armageddon Soul rank 7 out of 9. Soul mutation, the great evil Azurayasha Vijrarakshasa, true dragon god Armageddon. Rank 7. Soul mutation history, the great evil of Azura. Rank 5. True dragon god Armageddon. Rank 6. HP, exceeded limit. MP, exceeded limit. Physical attack, exceeded limit. Physical defense, exceeded limit. Agility, exceeded limit. Magical attack, exceeded limit. Magical defense, exceeded limit. Resist, exceeded limit. Special, exceeded limit. Chapter 21. The power that Erix obtained and his newfound strength made him unbelievably aware of things, akin to having been promoted to a senior developer in programming, letting him change certain rules because of being a living deity. He tested his Lord of the Rift, Janungagap, where he was able to manipulate space quite easily and distort perspective, akin to Dana Anaga Jagnanatha, and even manipulate time to some extent. Though this one is difficult to use considering many implications, like going back in time and meeting himself but being unable to find any place that is similar to his time, which means he is unique throughout space and time, protecting him from paradoxes. Erix knew that he was now an abstract and conceptual existence, making him immortal in the sense that as long as the existence of Armageddon existed along with the rift, then he wouldn't even perish, though he can still be sealed and trapped like the infinite prison that sealed Veldora. Erix can also be beaten to the point he is weakened, but in the end, he won't die. He believed that his current strength and skill would contend with Malim now, but still sensed he was far from winning. Erix could sense the danger from thinking of fighting someone like Guy and Malim. Erix knows that a living deity from Epic of Caterpillars would be comparable to or below disaster rank, but this is only for their base power, since skills still play a large factor in everything. He learned that the World Tree actually helps him gather more divine energy without going through a tribulation. The World Tree is the one who takes it, using that trial as a way to refine itself, causing it to grow further than before. This place, it needs a spirit since time and space are in chaos. He was in the vast nothingness of the subsidiary realm, accompanied by the gaseous ethereal energy around him. Erix knew the space was like Rimuru's stomach, but was an inner world rather than just storage space. Erix knew that the World Tree realm needed something to stabilize it. He rubbed his chin, asking Aaron for an answer, since it wouldn't hurt to ask for advice despite having already thought of an idea. So, what's your guy's opinion? I recommend thee to summon elemental spirits in order to act as a way to sovereign over the world. True, I think spirits would be the best pick since demons won't do a great job maintaining a world when they are driven to fight. He knows that elemental spirits are spiritual life forms and a conceptual existence that will help govern the entire inner world. It was a world that needed a manager to ensure things are working as they should since laws were running amok. Now that I think about it, does nothingness energy exist? Erix asked curiously if he could head to the end of time before absorbing it and using it to nourish the World Tree. From what we have analyzed, it exists but is only available at the end and the beginning of time. Currently, most energy is stardust energy, and Master, you should learn to temper yourself before trying something that reckless. Erix felt a bit disappointed, somewhat understanding that being too greedy won't benefit him. He placed it in the back of his mind to try later when he is confident. Also, without the gluttonous king, Beelzebub, then it's impossible to absorb nothingness energy even with your plunder ability. He had tested his skill, the ultimate skill, Lord of Despair, Karik, where he can plunder anything that is weaker or feels inferior to him, even the concept itself. Erix knows his limitations and understands that Rimuru survived because of his skill, and gaining those things would benefit him. If that is the case, let me try to connect this space to my room.